So I guess we will hop into the next section. There was a short and sweet introduction that I spoke most of the time for.
See, that's the trick.
So I guess let's just hop straight into India then, since we're already on the topic. What, in your own words, how do you see India? What do you see when you look at your home country?
There's a very straightforward answer to it, and there's a very complicated answer to it. So I'll jump into the straightforward answer, which is, I think it's one of the greatest countries there has been, in the sense that it has had a very rich diversity. It's one of the oldest civilizations. It's very rich in its culture, and it's very secular in its beliefs.
Really?
It is. Then India, for me, as when we were growing up, and the kind of things we used to hear, I think India is still one of the countries, and I've traveled across the globe, and this is something that stands out about India, which is the impact of community is much more in India. Now, don't get me wrong, this could be taken in a positive connotation, this could be very easily taken in a negative connotation also. But I still tend to believe that the impact that community has in India, in an overall perspective, is still very positive, and that is what stands out for me in India. You will have families sticking together, you will have friends sticking together. It's much more easier to develop a community in India than it is in Australia, it is in Dubai.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that stands out for me in India, and that's why I think it's one of the greatest countries.
So that's in South Africa, we have an Indian population there, and they're detached from India to, I'm terrible with history, like 200-300 years now, and they also have that very community strong mentality. And I think it is, there are many weaknesses I think come from that, but overall I think that the strength of having the traditional family unit and community structure in place is a strength that is just like none other. I mean, if you compare it to other cultures, the West is, with regards to the West, the traditional family structures is just wrecking ball is coming through it, and the community structure is just splintered, and I think it's causing a lot of problems that we don't even talk about. What do you think is the bad side of this community structure though?
It's like any coin, this has got massive impacts also. There is a lot of coercion that happens when it's community.
Coercion as in?
In the sense of beliefs, in the sense of standing out. You have to go through a lot of pressure when you're of a viewpoint which your community does not agree to, or is not awoke to.
Yeah.
What happens in that case, there's a lot of suppression, there's a lot of coercion that happens also. So it's like a
hive mind type of thing, right? It's like you can't go against the traditions or the norms. Yeah. I mean, I think from what I've seen being here in Dubai, I think your generation is probably going to be the one to change that.
I mean, I wish I could agree with you on this one, but the fact of the matter is, we're still 1.3 billion people. And it's sad, but the people who think like me, or the people who are more seeking towards what's an optimal solution for the society are still fairly less. And there's a lot of uneducated youth which is just running directionless. And when I say uneducated, I don't really mean having the primary education. What I think India has been missing out ever since it's been an independent nation is is the focus on the morality and the culture that was there before. And that's the thing that's been missing. And what happens is when these uncultured or uneducated people become a majority in the system is just put in an auto mode to collapse.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's something which is becoming more and more consistent with the Indian system. And we'll definitely deep dive into that, but I think that's one of the major issues. And like I was telling you, one of the biggest examples I can give you of this community pressure is with rapes. There is so much taboo around with any kind of physical intimation or physical intimacy or any kind of sex related discussion, that eventually the societal pressures become much more on the victim than the oppressor. And I think that's something which is there everywhere in the world. I'm not saying it's just there in India, but
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think you're right. I think it's worse in India. It's like, what did she do? Where did she put herself? What was she wearing? That kind of thing, right?
And it just becomes, it's the thought or the understanding. It's so ingrained, this patriarchy thinking, and it's so ingrained in the mindsets of people that it's going to take generations to gradually wash that out.
Yeah. So an opinion I have formed on this situation in India, and correct me if you believe I'm wrong, or help direct my thinking to be more towards the truth. But exactly with what you're saying with regards to the patriarchy, I think a lot of the world has the Western world has gotten to a place where this equality is basically across the board now. But in India, you have a situation where men still believe that they're the king, and if they make an advance on a woman and a woman rejects them, there's so much almost animosity, like, how dare you reject me? And I mean, I can't speak specifically for rape situations, but I can imagine that a man's ego who's been hurt, who believes he's on the top of the food chain, and having this little woman nothing tell him no, puts him into a rage, and it creates this anger towards free-thinking women.
And again, here community plays a big part, because typically when, let's say, a man and a woman discuss something and the woman says no, if the societal pressures do not compound on the man, that how can you woman say no to you, that does a lot of impact on the psyche of a person. And that's why I said it's ingrained in multiple generations that patriarchy or man's going to make all the decision. And it's changing. I'm not saying it's not going away. There's
but
a lot of
1.3 billion worth of change is a long time.
It's a long time. And it's unfortunate because from an aspect of a historical viewpoint, I understand where this is coming from, but we need to evolve as our society has evolved.
I agree.
I hope that you enjoyed that snippet out of Couch Conversations. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to watch the full video, I will link it down in the description for you. Thanks for watching. Back in the studio.